you! Are you having a hard time answering your task? Don't you worry, I am here. I will help you. Introduction to Business and Taxation. Let us first define what is business taxation. Business taxation refers to the taxes that businesses must pay as a normal part of business operations and responsible for adhering to tax regulations. Businesses pay their taxes to the BIR or Bureau of Internal Revenue. Business registration is a process wherein businesses registers their business to the BIR, for it is a prerequisite in opening a business. Business will register their businesses whether they are a VAT registered taxpayer or a non-VAT registered taxpayer. It is important to register your business in order for your business to be legit, or it has a proof that your business is legal. So there are two types of taxpayers. First is the VAT registered taxpayer, which is subject to 12% VAT if the gross sales or gross receipts of the business exceeds the threshold of 3M. So there are two forms that the VAT registered taxpayer uses. So first is the BIR form 2550M and the BIR form 2550Q. M stands for monthly and Q stands for quarterly. So the form 2550M, the deadline is within 20 days from the end of the month, while the BIR form 2550Q, the deadline is within 25 days from the end of the month. And the second one is the non-VAT registered taxpayer. Non-VAT registered taxpayer is not subject to 12% VAT because the gross sales or the gross receipts does not exceed the threshold of 3M, but it is subject to 3% of percentage tax. The non-VAT registered taxpayer uses two forms, which are the BIR form 2551M and the BIR form 2551Q. Again, M stands for monthly and Q stands for quarterly. The deadline is within the 20 days from the end of the month, the BIR form 2551M, while the BIR form 2551Q, the deadline is within 25 days from the end of the month. And the next one is the timing of VAT registration and revocability of VAT registration. Timing of VAT registration is when the business is expected to exceed thresholds of 3M within 12 months is required to register before the end of the following month. So it is required that they must register their business before the end of the following month. While the revocability of VAT registration, it can only be canceled or revoked if the VAT registration provided that their gross sales or gross receipts does not exceed the 3 million threshold preceding for the 3 years.
And now let's move on to the lesson 2, VAT on sales of goods, properties, and services. So here are the significance of VAT on sales in every consumption, most especially in business. So it will be based on consumption and thus provide a stable revenue base, and VAT is also has the neutral since it would be imposed on all types of businesses. It also provides stronger incentives for businesses to control the cost. It's also encouraged or at least not discouraged in savings. So here are the input VAT and the output VAT. So as we all know, input VAT is the amount paid by a buyer as a percentage cost price for the goods and services, while the output VAT, it is the amount received by a seller as a percentage of the selling price of the final product. So here are the formula on how to get the taxable amount. Is VAT is equal to output VAT minus input VAT. So here are the examples. So you can see in the screen. And now let's move on to how to get the taxable amount. So as you can see in the screen, the output VAT is the 10,714.29. Deduct the input VAT, which is the 4,500, so equals 6,214.29, which is the taxable amount. Now let's move on to the different kinds of sales. So here are the zero-rated sales, which is, as we all know, it is a foreign consumption or the exporting. These are the consumption that are zero VAT. However, you can deduct input VAT incurred during the purchases. So, and next, the exempt sales. So exempt sales, on the other hand, this is the sales of goods or services that are exempt under by the law. And lastly, the creditable input VAT. So it is a actual input is the higher than the standard input VAT. It is the excess of the actual input VAT over the standard input VAT is treated as an expense as a deductible for the income taxes purposes.
And now we are in the lesson 3, and it's all about the exempt sale of goods, services, and properties. So first, let us define what is exempt sale. The exempt sale are the consumption of goods or services from domestic sellers. And we all know that the exempt sales are not subjected to VAT and the percentage tax. So here, the VAT taxpayer making any exempt sale of goods, properties, or services shall not bill any output VAT to their customers because the sale is not subjected to VAT. While the non-VAT taxpayer making exempt sale shall not be subjected to the 3% tax on the sales or receipt. So here I have 6 examples of exempt sale of goods and properties. So first is the exempt sale of goods to the senior citizen and person with disability. Aside from the VAT on the sale, the senior citizen and person with disability are also entitled to 20%. Next is the sale of exempt goods. So here is the agricultural and the marine products, fertilizers, seeds, seedling, livestock, and poultry, including ingredients used in the manufacture or finished products. Next is the sale of goods by cooperative. Sale by cooperative, sales by agricultural cooperative as long as not exceed in 15,000. And also the electronic cooperative, and this is exclusive for the members. And the fourth one is the sales of residential properties. If a person is not engaged in the realty business, and the other one is the person engaged in the realty business which complies with statutory price selling. Next is the export sales by non-VAT taxpayer. The export sale of non-VAT taxpayer are exempt from the percentage tax under the law. However, the export sale of VAT taxpayer is taxable to the value-added tax, but at 0 rate. The last one is the treaty-exempt sale of goods. Here, the sale of goods which is exempt under the international agreement to which the Philippines is signatory or under special law. The examples of these exempt sales under special law or international agreement or the Asian Development Bank, International Rice Research Institute, Philippine National Red Cross, and the embassies of foreign government. So again, that's all the exempt sale of goods and properties. So now let's proceed to the exempt sale of services. So first is the school. Educational services shall refer to academic, technical, and vocational education by the private education institution accredited by the DepEd, CHED, and TESDA. and those rendered by the government education institution and does not include seminars and in-service training. The second one is the employees. Services performed by individual under an employer and employee relationship is not a business, thus exempt from business taxes. The third one is the agricultural contract growers and millers. These services by agricultural contract growers and millers for other of from palay to rice, corn to grits, or sugar cane into raw sugar. It refers to the person introducing to the other poultry, livestock, or other agricultural and marine food products in their original state. So next is the residential leasing. Lease or residential units with a monthly rental per unit not exceeding in 15,000 regardless of the amount of aggregation rentals received by the lessor during the year. The fifth one is the cooperative services. So the gross receipt from sale of services by cooperative such as lending, marketing, or multi-purpose cooperative exempts similar to the rules under the sales of goods cooperative. So the last one is the health or hospital services. The medical, dental, hospitals, and veterinary services except those rendered by professionals and sale of drugs by hospitals. So again, those are the examples of exempt sales of services.
Okay, let's move on to the lesson 4, VAT on importation. Next please. VAT on importation is subject to 12% VAT based on the overall value used by the customs office in assessing tariffs and customs duties, plus excise taxes and in any other charges fee, so payable prior to releases from customs custody of the goods. Next on to VAT exempt. So a sale of goods or transactions is considered VAT exempt if it falls under Section 109 exempt transactions. So for example, ang mga importasyon ng produkto ay ang marine food products, agricultural, poultry meats or feeds or etc. is under Section 109 of the tax code. So isinasa batas ang kasalukuyang transaction ay libre sa pagbabayad ng VAT o VAT exempt. Next on to zero-rated VAT. So goods are products that are not subject to value-added taxes mainly due to their societal importance or personal necessity. So for example, various foods, printed books, and children's clothes. Those are zero-rated of the importation of goods or services. Next on to final withholding tax. Is the full and final payment of income tax due from the recipient of the income. The obligation to withhold the tax is imposed by law on the goods or services. So taxpayers should be responsible to pay income taxes of the importation of goods or services. So yung payment ng mga taxpayers ay nire-reseta at hindi credit na tawag nito laban sa buwis na kita dahil nagbabayad sa ibang kita na napapailalim sa regular na mga rate para sa nabubuwisang taon.
I hope that it will help you to answer all your tasks.